everyone. Thank you for joining us for another eMarketer Tech Talk, where we host guests of all areas of ad tech, martech, and media. I'm Nancy Tefera-Santos, Senior Vice President, eMarketer at Insider Intelligence. Today, we have a great presentation. You're going to learn about the building blocks of dynamic video ads. And guess what? We're going to see live creation in action. It's going to be so much fun. And this is your opportunity to learn. We want it to be educational. I know we have a great audience today. We have brands, we have agencies, we have ops folks, we have advertising decision makers. I know you have good questions. So send them in during the presentation. I'll do my best to get to as many as I can during the Q&A. So please keep them coming. Now I want to introduce our special guest. I have with me today Miles Olson, who is CEO of Hoot Interactive. Hey, Miles, how are you?
Good. Thanks for the introduction, Nancy. And thanks to everybody who's taking time out of your day to attend. We're going to have what I think everybody's going to find to be a rather fun presentation today, because we're going to be talking about a new toy that's available to us as advertising professionals. And that, of course, is the dynamic video ad. But before diving into the details of dynamic video, I want to take just a little bit to add a little context about how this ad format got here, where it lives. And actually, dynamic video ads have been possible ever since the availability of programmatic video, which has been around for quite a long time. But there hasn't really been a lot of adoption until this very recent explosion in the OTT space. And OTT, by definition, being programmatic. So now we're seeing this big flood of advertisers moving into OTT to get that audience that is moving from linear TV programming to watching either the same or new programming on OTT. And this is happening really fast, and so fast that 3-4 years ago, we were only seeing a handful of advertisers dabbling in OTT, where now we've got Thursday Night Football that's playing on Amazon Prime. And I'm not a big football fan, but that's some really premium inventory, and inventory that you can now only get to on OTT. So OTT is here. It's here in a big way, and we're now having to change the way that we're used to doing business from the way it has been with linear into this new marketplace of programmatic to get our ads onto OTT. And I want to highlight just a couple of the fundamental changes that are occurring as we move from linear to OTT that are going to be important for the conversation we're having today. And the first of those is just simply the way ad inventory is now bought and sold. So in linear TV, we're used to, we talk to a salesperson, we submit an insertion order, and then that goes through some sort of process, but people are involved. It's very manual, and it takes time, days. Where now with OTT, your campaign manager can go up to the DSP, set up a new campaign, and your ads can be running in minutes. So we've got this dramatic improvement in speed to get our ads up and running, and then also control over those placements. Another fundamental change that's occurring is the way the creative, the video ad file itself is making its journey from the advertiser that produced the ad all the way to the viewer's screen. So linear TV, we're used to upload this to some sort of FTP server or Google Drive or shared folder in the cloud. And again, a very manual process that takes days before it's going to be able to get to the viewer's screen. And now in OTT, we're heading into the world of ad servers. And with the ad server, now the creative, that video file, can make that entire journey from the advertiser to the viewer's screen in a fraction of a second, because that is occurring at the time the ad is going to be served and viewed by consumers. So an exponential improvement in the amount of speed that we have of getting our video creative out there, and again, a lot more control. So we got a lot more speed, a lot of control, automation around all of this. And this is all giving rise to a lot of new capabilities that we've never had before. And one of those, of course, being dynamic video ads. So that's our context. Let's dive in and talk about the specifics now. And I want to start with a definition. Because right now, if you do a Google search, you can probably find dozens of different technology software companies that are providing tools that, either create or serve dynamic ads. But I would guess that at least half of those are not doing this. They're doing something that could legitimately be called dynamic as far as the video ad creation or serving, but it's something different than this. And this is what we're going to talk about today. So I want to make sure we go through this definition and understand the type of behavior that we'll be talking about. So for this presentation, for an ad to be dynamic, the video ad content in a live campaign, do notice that I've got that in all caps, highlighted, bolded, very important. If it's not in a live campaign, we're not going to consider it dynamic. So video ad content in a live campaign changes automatically, no human intervention, over time. And there actually could be other variables that trigger it other than time, but today we're going to talk about time. And this is actually dynamic behavior that we're all really familiar with already, because this is the exact same behavior that we're all used to and we come to know and love with our dynamic display ads, such as this example of a Facebook carousel ad. So, Facebook knows you're shopping for patio chairs. And next thing you know, Amazon knows you're shopping for patio chairs. And then you're on Facebook and you see an ad from Amazon is showing you patio chairs. Now, of course, the Amazon marketing department didn't go make that ad just for you. It's a dynamic ad. It was updated automatically over time in a live campaign as the ad was being served. So for the dynamic video ads we're going to be talking about today, we want to be seeing that exact same type of behavior. And so next thing I want is to just dive right in and show an example of a dynamic ad. And I'm not going to be able to do this in my deck, so I'm going to switch over to a browser where I've got a preview tool. Okay, so we're in one of our VastTag preview tools, and I've already got an ad tag set up in here that's going to play one of our demo dynamic ads. And this would be the same ad tag that you'd take and you'd put in your DSP or your programmatic buying platform, and that would be running in a live campaign. So when I hit the preview ad button, this is really doing the exact same thing as we would see in a live campaign when Thursday Night Football goes to commercial break. So let me go ahead and preview an ad.
Attention store shoppers looking for low prices, pick up a copy of our weekly circular specials at the front and get ready to find prices that are really low. I'm talking seriously low. Oh baby, did you just find another low price? Baby, that is low.
Okay, we call that our baby loves low prices ad. So what is it that makes this ad dynamic other than the fact that I told you it was dynamic? You probably already guessed that the three boxes you're seeing here with the price and item offers, that's going to be the dynamic content that will change automatically over time. And where does that change from? Well, it's going to have a data source, something it looks to decide what to put in there. And in a real live campaign, this would likely be the same feed that's most likely powering the grocery store's website as the offers change there. But for this demo, because I do want to show the full process, I just have it connected to this Google Sheet. Pretty much the same thing as a feed. And you can see that the three offers that we're showing in our Google Sheet are the same ones that we have in our dynamic ad. But now as offers change over time, so tomorrow they might change, and it has new specials. And to show that, I'm just going to move our Atlantic Salmon Club Pack up to the first position. And so now we want the ad to be able to show this new changed offer in the video, but in a live campaign. So what now do we need to do to make that change that we had in our data source now go in and update this ad? And in reality, nothing, because it's a dynamic ad and it needs to automatically change over time with no human intervention. So we are going to see that. I'm going to be able to replay with the same VastTag in here, preview the ad, and it's going to show the updated content, but it does take a couple minutes. So in the meantime, I'm going to go back to our slides and we'll come back and revisit that ad. Okay, so moving on to applications. Cool technology, but what's it good for? There's actually a lot of applications. Pretty much any time there's an advertiser that wants to promote something that changes regularly, changes frequently, that is a good application for a dynamic ad, such as my favorite example, a state lottery advertiser. Would the state lottery like to be able to tell viewers in their ads what today's jackpot is? Of course they would. It's what they're selling. They're selling a chance to win ... what? In this case, $1.1 billion, which is certainly a lot more impactful than go look at our website. We've got the current information there. So they want to do this. Have they been able to with linear TV? No, of course not, because that content changes every single day, and linear TV can't move that fast. Now, possible and actually rather easy with dynamic video ads on OTT, programmatic video, for them to now start showing that really important piece of information about what they're selling. Okay, also grocery store chains. Every single grocery store chain in the country has weekly circular specials. And those also have the challenge of, on linear TV, they would have to create a new ad every single time those specials changed. But grocery stores actually have a larger challenge than that, because all but the smallest grocery store chains in the country have store zones. So the weekly specials in North Austin are different than the ones in South Austin, which are also different than the ones in San Antonio, which are different than the ones in the 3 store zones in Houston. So in reality, for a grocery store chain to be able to show their weekly specials in a TV ad, they would not only have to create one ad every week, but probably dozens of those ads, and then have those each geo-targeted to the right viewers with the right offers for their closest stores. So big challenge, not feasible linear TV. Now, not only feasible with OTT and dynamic video ads, but fully automated and effortless. Other types of retailers, lots of other types of retailers having changing specials. I think you're going to be hard-pressed these days to find a big box advertiser that doesn't have weekly specials. You know, Bed Bath & Beyond, Bass Pro Shop, CVS, Office Max, my favorite, Harbor Freight, my daughter's favorite, Michael's Arts and Crafts. Lots of advertisers having changing specials, promotions that they, of course, want to promote, and up to now haven't been able to do that, has not been feasible in linear TV. Now they have the ability to do that with OTT and dynamic video ads. And the list goes on. Opportunities are endless. Might have exaggerated slightly there. There's a lot of opportunities. Listing out a few of the others here that kind of get away from our standard retail, you know, certainly QSR, think of the big Domino's pizza chain, and they're changing online coupons, which also probably have that same challenge as the grocery stores, that the online coupons for the store in my area are probably very different than the ones in your area. Entertainment, we're actually seeing a lot of adoption, and one of the examples I'm going to show in just a few minutes is in the entertainment vertical, but something else that always changes over time beyond the retail vertical. Travel, hard-pressed to find a vertical that has more changes going on a daily basis in both inventory and prices. Professional services, and automotive, which actually to date, automotive is where we've seen more adoption of dynamic video ads than anywhere else. And if you think about it, really important for local dealerships, because every single piece of inventory they're trying to sell is unique. You know, this 2002 Honda Accord with this VIN number is different than this other 2002 Honda Accord with this other VIN number. And both of those might not be available tomorrow if they sell, and the ad needs to show something else. So definitely a vertical that was in big need of being able to promote things that change over time, and now is adopting those quite widely for use in OTT. Okay, so all of these advertisers for all these different type of applications have all been faced with the one big challenge with linear TV. Only way they can show those promotions is to have them reproduce an ad and then redistribute that ad every single time the promotion changes. Now we've got the new option with OTT, programmatic video, to use dynamic video ads that are going to fully automate the process. So moving on to the next section of the presentation, let's talk a little bit about how dynamic ads work. And I'm going to do this hopefully without getting too technical. There's really just three fundamental components to any dynamic video ad, and I'm showing them here. And really, it's not too different than what we're used to with dynamic display ads. So the first component that we have is a template, and that's quite simply the part of the ad that doesn't change. So think back to that carousel ad for Facebook. It's got a template, a part that doesn't change, a framework, so to speak. And then it has spaces within there where it's going to insert the patio chair or whatever product or offer it wants to promote along with the title, description, what have you. But it's always going to have a template part that doesn't change and spaces for the dynamic content. Same thing with our dynamic video ads. What's going to determine what goes into those spaces? The data source. Every ad's going to have a data source. I used a Google Sheet, could be a feed, could be a number of different things, but something has to instruct the ad of what to be showing. And then the third item is an ad tag. And this is where we do start diverging a little bit from what we're used to with dynamic video. Certainly, if you're running some dynamic ads on Facebook, you don't have to worry about ad tags. Facebook takes care of that part. But it's a crucial component for our dynamic videos. Wouldn't be able to make them dynamic without it. So let's talk a little bit about what the ad tag is and how it works and why it's important for our dynamic video ads. So what is an ad tag? In its most fundamental sense, it's a URL. And in the same way that you take a URL, you put it in your browser, and it serves up a web page, for an ad tag URL serves up an ad. The important thing is now we're using the ad tag instead of the actual creative itself, instead of the video file. We're going to use the ad tag in your programmatic buying platform, and that's what the publisher is going to pick up. So Amazon for the Thursday Night Football, it's got not your actual video file ready, queued up to be played to viewers. It's got your ad tag. Where's the actual video file coming from? It will be on an ad server, crucial component. And what's very important about it is that the ad server can sit on the advertiser side. It can sit on your side, likely built into the dynamic video ad software, but still on the advertiser side and then under the advertiser's control. So as the process would go, Thursday Night Football is going, they go to the first commercial break. Amazon triggers your ad tag, says, hey, we're ready to show your ad, and it calls that URL. And then from your ad server, it says, okay, here's the ad, and it starts playing. But now we have some time, 15 minutes later, where it's going to play that ad again. So again, it calls the exact same ad tag, but since the ad server and the actual video file is on our side, the advertiser side, we have the ability to do things with that. We can change it. We can swap it out with another ad. We can make a decision of, oh, in this situation, we want to show this video file. And so in that way, 15 minutes later, when we're on our second commercial break, if something has changed, if content has been updated, we can show then and serve that new video file in that live campaign without the publisher, Amazon, or even your DSP having to have any changes made or really even know that changes have occurred. So crucially important that we have these ad tags now and ad servers. This is really not something the advertiser normally has to worry about because it's taken care of by the software that does what I call the plumbing of dynamic ads and the vendor that you're working with that's going to be providing those for you. So ad tag never changes. Creative always stays current. One last bullet point I have here that I should mention, and that's VAST, V-A-S-T. If you hear the word VAST, VAST tag is the IAB standard for ad tags in video formats. It's what every video publisher supports. They don't support anything but that. So in the world of video, VAST tag, ad tag is synonymous. We're talking about the same thing. Okay, let's move on to data sources. Data sources, we don't really need to do a deep dive on because this is actually one place where there is essentially no change in how we're doing things with dynamic display ads as how we now do them with dynamic video ads. So right now, if you are running dynamic display ads on Facebook, you've already set up a Facebook catalog, and maybe you've got some sort of feed connected in there as the data source. If you're doing Google Shopping ads, you've got some sort of feed set up in your Google Merchant Center account. The exact same process occurs with dynamic video ads. There really is no change whatsoever, and therefore, since I don't have any really new content to talk about here, I just want to move on to the more important topic of the template design, that first fundamental component of our dynamic video ads. And this definitely deserves some conversation, because the decisions you make in how you want your template design to look and to behave are going to have a lot of impact, well, on a lot of other things that we're going to be looking at here in a minute. So I do want to take some time here to talk about, how do the templates look? How do they insert that dynamic content? But I want to do this kind of from a conceptual point of view to begin with. So let's take a fictional advertiser. We've got Crazy Larry's car lot. And Crazy Larry has a video crew come out to his car lot to film a video for his dynamic video ad. And they film him in front of this building. He's slashing prices. And they get the finished video file. We got Crazy Larry. But now we want to show the actual vehicles that are available today or maybe tomorrow, and these are going to change as they sell vehicles, bring on new inventory, along with that produced video ad. So what are the ways that we could potentially do that? And I'm covering pretty much all the bases right here with these 4 options. And so let's go through them. I'm going to start top left. You could put the dynamic content next to the video. So we could have the produced video of Crazy Larry and then kind of shrink it down a little bit. And now we got some extra room left over on the screen where we can put a little paint in and show, and today, here's the vehicles that have the extra low prices, the pictures, the title, the price. So next to would be one option. Moving to the right of that, over the video. So they could, when they produce the video, they could, hey, Larry, move a little to the left. We're going to leave some space open here in this video so we can put those cars that are on special right on top of the video. So we're talking more of an overlay at this point. Moving down right below that, products in line with the video. So moving away from Crazy Larry, let's talk about the national pizza chain. So they've got their produced video that's showing here's the pizza coming out of the oven and the gooey cheese and the fresh toppings. And then last 5 seconds of the ad, they cut away and now for a limited time, get 3 medium-sized pizzas, $5, $5, $5. So video file, full normal produced ad, cut away at the very end, show the dynamic content. That's what we call inline. And then the last option I have here, the promotions without a video, which sounds kind of like an oxymoron. How can you have a video ad without a video? What I mean by this is without a produced video, without somebody going out, the camera crew, and doing some filming. Because in reality, you can programmatically, and I hate to use that overused term there, programmatically kind of compose a video ad from different assets that are already coming from that data source, your images, your titles. And probably going to be easier if I just show you what one of these looks like. So let's go ahead and move into some examples of these. And the first one I'm going to show is actually, I'm going to start with the next to. So this is an example of getting video ad content next to a pre-produced video that likely has already been running on TV. So we're going to look at this Denver Nuggets ad.
Thank you, guys. I mean, it's amazing. They always give us energy. They're our 6th player on the court.
Okay, and I don't think, oops, let me get back to that. I don't think we need to watch the entire video here. You get the idea. Actually, let me get it a little further into where you're seeing the screen shrunk down. So what you saw here, they had a video already, likely already running on linear TV, but now in order to make it dynamic, screen was shrunk down. We call this our L-bar format. And very easy to get now some dynamic content coming from a data source, whether that's a feed or a Google Sheet like I'd set up in our demo, to start showing up next to that. This is the format, the next two, as we're calling it, is the fastest and easiest type of dynamic video ad to create and get out into circulation. So moving on from that, now the ad without, a dynamic ad template without video. But let me start this. On sale now, 20% off. The pause button. Okay, and I very intentionally, I didn't put any branding in here for a particular advertiser or fill the data source with product images, because I wanted you to see what this ad looks like raw. It's a template, but nobody actually produced a video. It's just animation. It's got audio. It can have a voiceover track. Things are moving around, but you can see easily how this can be changed, and this could be used for Crazy Larry and be showing the vehicles, this Honda Accord 2020 on sale today and show a picture of the vehicle, but it could also be used just as easily for the pizza coupon. So very flexible and a great option for advertisers where they don't have a produced video asset to start off with. Also, one of the easier methods to get ads set up. Before I go to the next slide, just to talk a little bit about, because I'm going to skip over the third option, that inline. So that's where we've got the pizza ad that's showing the gooey cheese and the happy family eating their pizza, and then it flips at the very end to the offer. Well, that's essentially the same thing as what we're seeing here. It's the without a video, this template that might just be animation and showing data from your feed and images from your feed at the very end of a produced video file. So that leaves just one more option that we had there, and that's on top of, and we've already seen an example of that. That would be our Baby Loves Low Prices ad, which should be finished updating by now. So I'm going to move back and we'll see the finished results of our ad. So we still have the same ad tag in here. I didn't change it. So it's in a live campaign. This is still what Amazon has and is calling during Thursday night football. And so right now, the last time it played, we saw these offers, but now we should be seeing the Atlantic Salmon Club Pack as the first offer. Let me trigger the ad
Attention
again.
store shoppers, looking for low prices? Pick up a copy of our weekly circular specials at the front. And get ready to find prices that are really low. I'm talking.
And there we go. So drive the point home. What had to happen when this data source changed to make this ad that was in a live campaign update to show the new content? Nothing. Fully automated with dynamic video ads. So now I'm going to move back into the deck and we'll finish this up with the last section. Okay, so talking about the setup process. What goes into setting up a dynamic ad? And it must be really hard. And honestly, it could be. It depends on a lot of things. Certainly, the Baby Loves Low Prices ad, we did not make that ad in a day. It took some effort. If you're a big national advertiser, that might not be a problem. We were willing to invest some time and effort. But there's a lot of variables that go into determining, is this going to be easy or is this going to be hard? And the biggest ones are that template design that you choose. If you go with something like the Baby Loves Low Prices ad, where it's have spaces on top of a produced ad and get those to insert perfectly so it looks like it's all one cohesive ad, it's going to have some challenges. It's going to take time and effort. But if you go with something more simple like the L bar that we saw with the Denver Nuggets ad, these things can be produced and prepared a lot faster and a lot easier. Also, whether you go with a custom or a canned templates. So certainly platforms like ours have a lot of canned templates that are available. So advertisers that don't have a lot of creative requirements can go with that a lot easier than they can with something custom created. Data segmentation needs are going to affect the amount of effort you're going to have to put into these. So think back to that grocery store example with all the different store zones. Not only do we have to set this up to update with the data source content on a regular basis, but we also have to have the ad change on another dynamic component, and that is the location of the viewer that's looking at that ad, making sure they see the right offers for the store in their area. So definitely adds a lot more complexity to it. Technology platform you're working with, distribution requirements, there's probably a lot of other variables that would affect campaign setup that I didn't list here. But the important thing to know is it doesn't have to be complicated. And if you use something simple like I did with the Denver Nuggets, with that L bar, putting the content next to it, connecting it to a very simple data source like a Google Sheet, that can actually be set up literally in under 10 minutes. And that happens from the moment you upload, here is the TV ad we've already been running on linear TV, upload that into the platform, to 10 minutes later, getting a VAS tag or an ad tag back that you can immediately take, put in your DSP and start running those ads. So does not have to be complicated, can be extremely fast and easy if your creative requirements aren't too picky, and definitely not out of the reach for smaller local and regional advertisers. And to the contrary, actually, we're seeing the vast majority of adoption come from local and regional advertisers. So think about the state lottery. It's a regional advertiser. Think about the auto dealerships, where we're seeing more adoption than anywhere else. All local advertisers. So definitely within the reach of them, can be easy to set up, can be affordable when working with the right partner. And so if you're with a company, with an advertiser, and you think, wow, these would be really valuable for us, we're spending a lot of time having to recreate ads for different offers, you want to look into it further, where do you go? You'd probably talk to one of these companies, because right now the vendors out there that are providing dynamic ads are likely the same vendors that you're working with to get your linear TV advertising. So we've listed a few of our partners here. Nexstar, Tegna, Scripps, Sinclair Broadcasting, Gray. I mean, I think right there we've covered the vast majority of local TV station ownership. And you're probably already working with these companies. They also are now all selling OTT packages along with linear advertising, and they all support dynamic video. So usually the next step, if there's an advertiser that wants to start running dynamic video ads, they would talk with one of these companies. Or if you're not working with one of these, we certainly encourage you, visit HootInteractive.com. You can email us, and we're happy to connect you with one of our other partners or agency partners. But going through one of these companies will handle both the actual support for your dynamic ads as well as your OTT advertising package. Okay, a lot of content there. I'm sure we've got some questions. Nancy?
Absolutely. Miles, thank you so much. I love this. From the advertiser's perspective, you touched on how much efficiency there is with the dynamic video ads. You're saving time and money, how quickly you get them to run. Trafficking can be such a headache. And to be able, when ads, aren't running at the right time, you have an offer that expired. That's a huge headache for the ad trafficker, but also you lose loyalty from your audience as well. So from the consumer side, to be able to serve up the right content with the right offers at the right time is just so important in building that consumer loyalty. So this was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I know our audience did, because we got lots of questions. So I'm going to jump in. Yeah, here we go. So Miles, the first question is, can content in ads dynamically change based on something like the weather?
Okay, that is actually a question we get asked quite a bit, and it usually comes as a weather example. Hey, can these update based on the weather? And often that comes in the context of an advertiser, might be in like home services, roofing, and if it hails, we might want to show a different type of ad. Okay, so short answer is yes. And I think at the beginning of my presentation, I talked about, we're going to look at dynamic ads changing over time, but there could be other variables. And one of those other variables I actually touched on would be like the grocery stores that have the different store zones. So they had to actually have two dynamic variables, one being the offers that are changing from week to week, but the other being, where's the viewer located because we got to show the right ones to them. So what we're looking at, the actual fundamental technology, whether it's weather or anything else, is really just an additional logic statement that goes in there that looks at a second dynamic component, which could be weather. And in our system, it happens the same way, whether it's looking at the geo location of the user or could be pointed to something else where it says, if the weather today includes snow, then, and then it makes a decision. It could be then, yes, runs the ad promoting the snow tires, or it could be run this ad instead of another ad, or it could be just run the ad rather than no ad at all, or not run the ad. But yes, dynamic triggers, whether it's weather or really anything else out there, are definitely possible.
Fantastic. And it seems like it's just a simple if statement there.
Yeah.
So really easy for the ad trafficker. Thank you. Our next question is, how frequently can you update your ad content?
Okay. So that's a tricky question. We do have some limitations. So let me go do my comparison against the dynamic display ad. Those dynamic display ads are really fast. So you got the Facebook carousel ad with the patio chairs. When did the patio chairs actually get inserted for you when that ad was shown to you? And they got inserted at the second the ad was being served. So you hit the page, it checked out, you're the user, that person likes patio chairs, and it got assembled right then. Unfortunately, we can't, at this time, we can't do that with video. The actual video ad itself, getting those things in there, can't be done in a split second at the moment the ad is being served. They have to be rendered in advance. And that's why I had to do my little pause, took a couple minutes, we'll come back to it. We're getting really fast at this, but we have that technical limitation that's going to give us a barrier of how often we can update them. So certainly once an hour, not a problem with the technology that we have available. Every 15 minutes, probably not a problem. But certainly as we're getting down to 1 or 2 minutes, we might be kind of pushing things to the limit. And so I would say if we just want to have a rule of thumb out there, I would say every 15 minutes is safe with today's technology. Certainly a year from now, 2 years from now, I mean, we're working on making it faster. Hopefully we'll get to catch up with the dynamic display ads and be able to do it in a fraction of a second at some point.
Miles, I think every 15 minutes is very acceptable.
Okay, good.
That is quite fast. And actually you have to ask yourself too, like, how many times do you really want to update it, right? There's only so much messaging I'm sure that you could change out there. Very impressive. So the next question is about voiceover. And I just have to say, I'm smiling, I'm laughing because that baby loves low prices. That voiceover and that music just is so fun. It makes you smile. I recently took up roller skating. I want to add that music to my skate list because that's just so fun. So the question out there is, can there be a dynamic voiceover track as well?
Okay, well, remind me. We'll send you the audio file for that. You can listen to your headphones as you're skating. Yeah, so certainly, let's talk about this from two different angles. Can the voiceover be dynamic? Yes, in the fact that right now in the ads that we're supporting and other vendors support, where while the campaign's running, could you swap out the voiceover and have a different voiceover? Yes. That would be one way it could be dynamic. But the thing I think everybody would want, and what we want very badly, is to have dynamic within the voiceover. So more of a mail merge into, so now when we're watching Crazy Larry's ad, it's not like, and look at this great low price, we can say, and this 2020 Honda Accord, and actually goes through, and with some text to speech technology, this is possible. We're looking at it regularly, trying to decide, do we want to incorporate this in our technology or not? But at this point, yes, it can be done. We have done it in prototype situations, but right now the text to speech still, if you just take it raw, mail merge text coming in, reading off the title of the car, it doesn't sound natural. and you can definitely tell it is a text-to-speech program, which is why we've decided not yet to put that into our technology. So I guess the shorter answer to that very long answer is yes, it can be done. We're not doing it. I'm not aware of any other vendor out there that is doing that. It can be done. We just don't think that text-to-speech technology is quite there yet.
Okay. I could tell how much you love the creative process. It's so much fun. I would love to see you in that development process because I think you have a ball doing it. The next question is a little bit about data. Has there been any data showing campaign performance improvements using dynamic ads? If so, can you share with us?
Okay. And yeah, actually there has. So we've got a lot of partners that put together case studies, and they show, look at the performance improvement of dynamic ads over something else. But I'd like to caution everybody in kind of jumping to conclusions when you see case study data like that and attributing that to the fact that the ad was dynamic. Because if you really think about it, so our Baby Loves Low Prices ads, that was a dynamic ad, but we could produce manually changing offers and have it look exactly the same as the dynamic ad. And if we compare those two in a split test to consumers, the consumers aren't going to know the difference because the ads look exactly the same. One's dynamic, one's not, but the consumer's not going to know the difference. And so really, if you did that strict of a split test, you'd see no difference. Where the improvement comes is now you can now promote and put content in your ads that you weren't able to before. So if you do have good promotions, if you do have a great deal on the Atlantic Salmon Club Pack, then yeah, the fact that you can now show that very likely can create performance improvements over a non-dynamic ad that maybe is just branding. But it's really not the fact that you're using dynamic technology that's improving the performance. It's really your offers.
Thank you. Thanks for that transparency. And the next question is, can dynamic remarketing be done with video ads?
Kind of.
Okay. Do tell.
Kind of. Not in the way strictly that is done. Again, I'll keep comparing to the Facebook carousel ad, which, I think even in that example, it was talking about, oh, you saw this on the website. And now it's remarketing that to you. Because again, it was able, in dynamic display, it's able to actually compose that ad, sticking the offers in the template at the moment it's being served, because you don't know anything about the user. You don't know who's who until the ad is being served. They hit the page, or, the ad starts running on Thursday Night Football. We don't see that addressable other side until that moment. So the ad has to be put together right then, which it can in display, can't in video, but we can do something similar. So certainly a number of different ads, let's take the auto example and let's just say you categorize them so it's not as specific as I looked at this one specific product, patio chairs, but instead I looked at a category of products of sedans versus SUVs versus trucks versus hatchbacks. And if you've got the remarketing set up in that, now really you can do this with dynamic video ads, some remarketing, but you're just producing or rendering and refreshing the ads for each category in advance. And then we set that logic up similar to the geo targeting logic we set up so that it can actually say, okay, here's a person that was looking at trucks, serve up the truck ad that's already been rendered and refreshed. So in a way, it can be done, just not to the granularity that we've been able to do it in dynamic display.
Okay. And the next question, you talked about dynamic ads being used a lot for local and regional advertising. And the question wants to know about global markets. So can you speak to dynamic changes for different global markets? For example, using the same ad, but localizing to different countries versus regions?
And I guess, I'm not sure if you have any more context on that. Or is it talking about localizing the content? Well, certainly the actual, technology to be able to serve a dynamic ad. So content, live campaign, changing automatically over time. is not geo-specific. It's not, and there's no really technology standards that change from one country to the next that would, so yeah, they can be run everywhere in the world. But if it is about, can the content change based
Maybe the
on,
localization or the
yeah,
translation or
and yeah, the answer is a simple yes to that, because that's something that we're doing right now. Just like I was talking the example of the grocery store chain with the different store zones, or the pizza chain where the coupons are different for the different restaurant locations. And that is something that's being done right now and could be done on a global scale with countries rather than a zip code scale, if you'd like.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you. And we have one last question here. This viewer is saying, you showed us an example of a manual update of the data source. Can that be automated?
Yes.
Okay.
So that was where we had to use our imagination a little bit. Because as I said, if this was a real campaign for a real grocery store, I think that was McMilligan's, as we called it. They have a feed. So if you just think about their website, if you go to the Publix or the HEB or the Safeway or whatever grocery store you're at, you go to their website, you see their circular specials there. They automatically change every week. What's changing them on their website? They have a data source already, and it's likely some sort of data feed. And so we had to kind of use our imagination. I didn't have one for an actual grocery store chain, and we wouldn't want to wait until the next week for them to update. So I just showed an example of a Google sheet that would behave similarly. But yeah, normally this would be, again, same as dynamic display ads. How are your offers for your Google shopping campaigns getting updated? You've got a feed going into your Google Merchant Center account. It's going to work the same way with dynamic video.
Fantastic. Miles, thank you so much. The content was fantastic. This is such incredible technology. I love it. So did our audience. They had so many great questions. So thank you to our audience for asking all those questions. We really appreciate it. Before we wrap up, let me take a moment and tell everybody what's happening across eMarketer's media channels. Mark your calendars, Friday, March 3rd. We are going to have our next virtual summit, Attention, and we're going to focus on retail media networks. So keep an eye out for that registration information. And in the meantime, you could always register for more upcoming live analyst or tech talk webinars at emarketer.com/webinars. On the audio side of the house, tune into Behind the Numbers. That's our daily podcast. And also check out our newsletters. And keep an eye on your email. We're going to send out a link to this very engaging presentation. You could listen to that audio again from my favorite commercial. But in all seriousness, share it around your organization. This was really fantastic content. OTT, CTV is so important to get into the marketing mix this year. That's where viewers are going. You want to be there. You want to have the right content. You want to make it dynamic, right? Thank you all for your time. Thanks again, Miles, to the entire team at Hoot Interactive. And we'll see you again. Oh, absolutely. Thank you. And I'll see everybody tomorrow on our next Tech Talk. Bye-bye.